Hello and welcome to the Star Pubs and Bars delivery sessions with me, Andre from Delivery Insider. We're going to explore the wonderful world of takeaway and delivery and help you to understand how you can make it work for you. So let's get cracking. So welcome back and welcome along, and this is part two. And in part two, we're having a look at how to create a menu that works online for you. And there are some nuances and some things that we want to try and understand and learn and make sure that we take benefit from and get the best out of building a menu online for the delivery and takeaway world. So, choosing the right menu, I always advise people to play to your strengths. So think about what you're famous for now and how can you then package that up in the delivery and takeaway world, because that will make it a lot easier for people to find you for the things that they know you're famous for. Have a look in the market, and are there cuisine types which you could do which other people aren't doing in your area? For example, in the area that you're in, have a look, are there people doing pies on delivery and takeaway services? If they're not, that could be a real opportunity for you to put your pies into the delivery world and takeaway world. When you're building your menu, I talk to people about the idea of having a credible list of dishes and drinks. So what that means is, if somebody goes online and looks at your menu and it's only got 3 or 4 things on there, then they're probably going to think, are they really serious about delivering and taking my order? If they've got too many things in there, they've got 80 to 100 items, then it's too daunting, it's too scary for people to try and place an order, and so they leave your page and go to somewhere else. But the right amount of items in the list is around 40 to 60. Now that can include drinks, and it can include featured items and bundles. So you might have a burger, chips and a drink deal all bundled up as one thing. Now that could be one item, but then later down the list you'd also have that burger, that chips and that drink as 3 separate items. So already that's 4 items that make up your list. So 40 to 60 items, if you're not careful, will be very quick to be able to build, but having around that amount is definitely a good number to have. And that can include your drinks, and whether you've got an off license for selling alcohol as well, that can include some packaged alcoholic drinks as well. So think about the types of food that you can offer. So I advise people on roasts, gastro food, burgers, pies. These are all things that work really well in the world of takeaway and delivery. Ask yourself though, do you want it to be your core brand? And what I mean by your core brand, as in the name of your pub and pretty much the same food that you currently sell in the pub as your brand that goes online? Or do you want it to be a virtual brand? And what I mean by a virtual brand is a brand that is made specifically for takeaway and delivery and doesn't really exist as a shop you can go to. So 2 great examples here from the Star Pubs and Bars network. The Bingley Arms, they've used their core brand and they're selling a range of their classic pub food items, and they're just serving those for takeaway and delivery, and they're doing that locally in their area. And that's a really nice menu, and it tells everybody a little bit about what they're about, and it means that they connected with that local area because their name is out there as a takeaway and delivery brand in that area as well. And then over on the right hand side, the great example from The Mill. The Mill has built a virtual brand there called Polo by Tomahawk, and their Polo business serves lots of great stuff. And you can see that it says burgers and pamos and shawarma and rotisserie. Now those are things which may or may not be on that pub's menu, but what they've done is they've created a brand for online which helps people to navigate towards that stuff, and it becomes a virtual brand. So lots of advantages of each of these routes. Advantages for having your core brand online are, it's great for building your brand awareness because people will find you based on your brand name online, and that really helps. And the locals in your area who know who you are and what food you do will search for your pub name, and then they can find you very quickly and easily and and they know the kind of things that you do, so they'll order directly from you in that way. Another opportunity with this, I think it also makes gifting for a loved one really easy. So imagine in the lockdown world, you've got a family member who's shielding. Well, actually, you could send them a meal from the local pub that they know, and you could do that via takeaway or delivery, and I would go online and pay for that and then make sure it gets delivered to my auntie or my uncle who I know is shielding up near that local pub. There's some benefits of virtual brands too. Virtual brands are great for filling a local cuisine gap. So you may not be famous for something, but you may want to try and build a brand which fits that gap in the market. So building a virtual brand allows you to do that. And that could be in the world of burgers or pizza, something you're not currently famous for now, but you get the ability to be able to play in that market because you created a brand which perfectly fits around that cuisine type. And with virtual brands, you can also charge a different price to your in-pub menu pricing without any backlash because it's already coming from a different brand name. So there's some things to think about there, whether you're going to set this up as a brand from your own pub or a virtual brand. And it doesn't mean you can't promote both from each of your own core channels, but it allows you to be able to play in either of those markets. Thinking about your food when you're building a menu, I'll try and help people to understand that the delivery driver's bags are a certain size. Those certain size is 36 centimeters by 36 centimeters by 43 centimeters. So what does that really mean? It means that if you've got a 12-inch pizza, that's great, it fits inside the bag. However, if you want to do a 15-inch or an 18-inch pizza, it's not going to fit inside the bag of that moped driver, and you're not going to get a chance of actually getting that down the road to your customer. So you might have to tailor your menu to make sure it fits inside the delivery bags. 5 P's of menu planning. When you're thinking about building your menu, I look at these 5 P's. I love these little mnemonics which can help us remember stuff, and 5 P's is a great place to start. So the 5 P's are prep time, presentation, packaging, pricing, and profit. So prep time, how quickly do you make your food? Is it going to be quick to make? Because the quicker you can make it, the further up you are on the apps and the aggregators, and the quicker you can get food to people, and that really helps. Presentation, how does it look? What packaging are you using? Does it make the food look in its best light? And then pricing, are you competitively priced? And finally, and importantly, can you make profit from selling these dishes at this price online once you've added in the cost of the packaging and added in the cost of any aggregator fees as well? So let's talk about some of those in more detail. Prep time. Why being fast is important? Well, the quicker you can prepare your food, the higher up the delivery app or website you get. So you can see an example here. This is a page from Deliveroo, and you can see largely what they're doing is they're prioritizing the businesses that can deliver food quickly. So you'll see at the top there, it's all around 10 minutes in delivery. So that in those brands, a restaurant or a pub can create that food in just a few minutes, and the customer can get it delivered within 10 minutes. Now, that's a pretty challenging target, but I always think in the world of if you can create your food in less than 10 minutes and then there's 10-minute drive time, under 20 minutes is probably a good number. And it also gets you relatively high up on the apps and the website to make sure that you get spotted and you've got a chance of being seen in that marketplace. Presentation and packaging. Think when you put the food inside the packaging, does the food look good when it's packaged up? So you've got to choose packaging that makes your food look good and more like it does in the pub. So you're creating an experience which is similar to what the pub experience is like. Because if you're putting your brand name out there, people will be expecting to see the similar kind of things that you do in the pub, particularly for that price that you're charging. So choosing some packaging carefully is really important as part of that. Whether that's plastic packaging or craft and cardboard, there's lots of packaging solutions out there. Most catering suppliers, maybe you're the supplier who delivers your napkins and all of your toilet rolls, will have a range of food delivery packaging, and I'd explore that as well if that's an easy route for you. But if you need something different, I've listed here some different suppliers in the market who do a range of packaging products. So Colpack, Genpack, Vedra, and Sabert all do different ranges of packaging. So if you need something more specific which can deliver what you need, then have a look on their websites, because that's the kind of place that you'll find some of these more niche stuff if you can't find it through your existing catering supplier. When you're looking at packaging, also think about branding. So when people get your food, you want to make sure that they're getting a wow from your brand and building an experience which is similar to what you get when you're in the pub or the pub restaurant. So thinking about How does your brand live through your packaging? Do you use stickers? Do you use bags which have got your brand name printed on or stuck onto? Can you put personal messages into the bags, like flyers or business cards, which you can put a little note on? And you can put personal messages on, like saying, thank you, Andre, enjoy your food, hope to see you again, particularly if you know the people who are ordering from you. Trying to be personal. One of the benefits of being a pub manager, which you all know, is that you're landlords and landladies and hospitality kings and queens. And where you start is looking after people, looking after locals, looking after customers. And it shouldn't stop just because it's a delivery or takeaway order. Building your reputation and your relationship through your packaging and through the little notes you put into the bags will all be really important in keeping and building and growing those good relationships you have with your customers. Thinking about pricing and profit and making sure that you can build a price that works for you, I would look online and look at the competitive pricing for your cuisine and see how competitively priced you are. You don't have to be the cheapest, but you probably need to have a balance of being good quality and high rating online, and we'll talk more about that later, but having a good quality rating, and then also having a price which isn't too expensive and pricing yourself out the market. People are paying for convenience, so they will mostly prepared to pay the right price, a little bit more, but they also want value for money, and there's a lot of choice out there. So you've got to try and make sure you're balancing all of that to get the best of what you can possibly get. Factoring into your profit calculations how much the packaging costs is an important part of the whole mix of can you make some profit out of this as well, and the cost of goods. So the cost of the actual food and drink that you're putting into the packaging, and then the cost of the packaging itself is all a part of how much profit you can take at the bottom line. When you're building your menu, most aggregators allow you to build your own menu online. And by aggregator, I mean the Just Eats, the Uber Eats, and the Deliveroos of this world. Then most of them have a menu builder which you can ask for access to, which allows you to build your menu. You will need your dish name, you'll need a description of each dish, you need photos of the dish, you'll need prices and any add-on extras. So for example, if you have a burger and chips on your menu now, you might well be able to sell that as two different items, but you would sell the burger at one price, and then when people click on the burger, it will pop up and say, do you want chips with that? And you can sell them chips for an extra few pounds. And so having the ability to be able to set your menu out like that will be really important, and knowing how to build your menu online is really simple once you get into the various aggregator marketplaces like the Deliveroos and the Just Eats and the Ubers, but knowing all that information up front will help speed up that whole process for you. Making sure that people can find you is a really important part of getting onto the web, on getting through to delivery and takeout sales. So on your own website, making sure you've got links through to any pages which are offering your delivery or click and collect services. It's a really important thing to make sure you do very early on. Put takeaway posts on your social media. Here's a post from a pub in London who are doing roasts, and they're advertising that on their social media that you can get a Sunday lunch today, and that's a great way of trying to drive some extra sales with people who know you and getting people to see that food and share those pictures and amongst their friends and like those pictures, so the more of their friends see it is a great way of advertising your delivery offer, your takeaway offer to more people. If you've got an email database, then email that customer database and tell them about your takeaway offer, and tell them that they can get it this weekend when the pubs are closed down in lockdown, or when they can't get out of the house. Letting your pub customers know who are leaving the pub as well, and giving them flyers and letting them and talking to them about that the food is available via takeaway and delivery now. That also helps to get word of mouth out, because there may be times when they just can't leave the house or they don't want to leave the house. This fulfills that need and gives you the opportunity to sell your food and drink to more occasions. Next time, we're going to be talking about growing your takeaway business. So hopefully you'll find today useful, and I look forward to seeing you in part 3 for more takeaway and delivery knowledge for Star Pubs and Bars.